We are on one of the most beautiful trails I've ever taken. We're on the Sunflower Trail here in North Dakota. We're uncovering hundreds of millions of years of history here at the state's largest museum in Bismarck. In this episode, we're sampling great food, history, culture, and meeting local entrepreneurs who are utterly creative. Welcome to Travels with Darley. In the heart of the expansive Great Plains, nestled within the borders of North Dakota, a vibrant spectacle awaits every summer. Here, the landscape is transformed into a golden sea of sunflowers, casting a radiant glow across the state. Join me as we embark on the Sunflower Trail, which winds its way through North Dakota, including around the state's capital, Bismarck. We'll explore the sunflower's deep-rooted significance to North Dakota's agricultural identity while tracing the state's rich heritage, a tapestry woven from the era of dinosaurs to the legacy of American Indians, German and Scandinavian pioneers, and the intrepid journey of Lewis and Clark. Our exploration will also introduce us to quirky roadside attractions and to the dedicated local entrepreneurs and artists who embody the soul of North Dakota, shedding light on why this state deserves a spot on your travel list. My first stop is the North Dakota Heritage Center and State Museum in Bismarck.
I just love being able to say good morning to a mastodon when I get coffee every day.
Kim Jondahl is introducing me to North Dakota's largest museum.
The Northern Lights Atrium is one of the most unique architectural jewels of the Northern Plains. The architects wanted people to interpret it as they came into this welcoming space. So some people look at it and they see the 20 steel beams and the rising space and this great seal of North Dakota that's lit up in the middle. That's kind of a hearth, and they think of it as a Native American teepee or an earth lodge.
I can see that.
And then other people, because we're an agricultural state, of course, farming families and people come in and say, oh, I feel like I'm in a grain bin. So it's all however you interpret it when you come into the space.
It's a nice entryway into something that has so much history and that you can learn so much and then reinterpret in different ways.
Exactly.
Over 65 million years ago, dinosaurs walked the landscapes of North Dakota, and the museum shows off the rare fossils of animals from way back then.
Meet Dakota. This is our dino mummy that is extremely rare. It is one of the rarest fossils in the world. There are only about 6 dinosaurs known to have fossilized skin on them.
Wow.
And it is the real skin. So this is our hadrosaur that's about 67 million years old.
Tens of millions of years and that skin has been preserved. North Dakota's more recent history is told through a variety of exhibitions focused on agricultural innovation, North Dakota during the 50s and 60s, and Native American culture and history.
This is the Early Peoples Gallery. We have 5 tribal nations across the state, and all are represented here.
Kim takes me to see a hand-painted mural depicting a 16th century Earth Lodge village that was the center of trade and commerce, located along the Missouri River north of Bismarck.
This is a scene from about the year 1500 when about 10,000 people would have lived here. It was kind of like a New York on the prairie, a major center of commerce and trade.
It is neat to be able to see works like this to help us all imagine what life was like in different time periods.
Absolutely. We did a lot of research here from our end to try to get it right. So it's as historically correct as we can imagine it to be at this point.
People don't always think about going into the state archives in their area, but many of these archives hold fascinating pieces of history.
So this is the Mark Kellogg diary, and Mark Kellogg was a Bismarck Tribune reporter who actually went with Custer and his soldiers to report on what was going on. He did die at the Battle of Little Bighorn, and this journal was left about a week out.
They brought it back to the family at which Mark Kellogg was staying, and then that family eventually gave it to the Bismarck Tribune, and then it was donated to us.
This is definitely something that we consider one of our treasures.
At North Dakota State Archives, there are 8 miles of papers to discover. Do you often get things that kind of fall into your laps that are really significant like this?
Yes.
Look at you.
Question. Sometimes people will find things that are really important to history that they will end up bringing to us so that we can help take care of it.
So cool,
Yeah,
ladies.
We get some really cool things.
The investigators right here, the history investigators. More of North Dakota is revealed through Bismarck Art Alley, where local artists have turned an alleyway into a colorful gallery. This is all North Dakota themed.
Yep, it's absolutely all North Dakota. So it's kind of like the history of North Dakota, what we're known for, or maybe even what we envision North Dakota to be of.
Bismarck artist and high school art teacher Paul Noot shares his work with me. You have your ode to North Dakota down here.
Yes, it was actually based off a painting with all the counties of North Dakota. A lot of the ethnic groups are on here. Wildlife is on here. The ladybug is our state bug. A jar of choke cherry. Dinosaurs, of course. Sakakawea is here. Teddy Roosevelt is up there.
You grew up here in North Dakota, you moved away to Brooklyn, and you came back. What brought you back to Bismarck?
My roots were here, and I think you appreciate things once you leave. You realize how nice things are. You know, doing this art alley, and the art scene is growing here. So I've lived here now in Bismarck for 27 years.
So Bismarck is home.
Bismarck's home.
And you're making your mark.
Yeah, exactly.
You're telling them that you know the state very well. North Dakota has a burgeoning craft beer scene that's only been truly brewing for the last decade. I'm meeting up with an entrepreneur who has been instrumental in lobbying to overturn antiquated laws to allow for more brewing action in the state. Mike Freilich, the president of the North Dakota Brewers Guild, is the owner of Laughing Sun Brewing Company in Bismarck. He opened one of the first breweries in the state, and it's a popular one for drinking and recreation. So it's Flying Axe beer, and it makes you want to go throw some axes.
It could.
One taste of my Flying Axe beer, and I thought I was ready to go. Until I realized it's not so easy to throw an axe. Maybe ninja stars are more of my thing. So where did the name Laughing Sun Brewing Company?
My last name, Freilich, in German means happy.
Okay.
So that's where the laughing comes from. The sun doesn't question, doesn't judge, doesn't ask anything in return. It just gives its energy. If everybody's given their energy to a place, we've got something more than just a place to drink a beer.
It's that community that Freilich is continuing to foster at Laughing Sun and for other breweries throughout the state, as he works to help normalize and pave the way for what's becoming known as a brewing boom across North Dakota.
We're growing, we're trying to grow our community too and make it a better place. So that's what it's always been about, trying to make Bismarck a better place to be. So
Well, cheers to that.
cheers. Yeah, we're never gonna stop. So
Thanks in part to Freilich. Outside, we dive into another aspect of a visit to this brewery, comfort food. This looks good. Now, what makes these burnt ends so good? This is a specialty of yours.
I call it meat candy. It's been sauteed in some sweet, zesty barbecue, smoked for 13 hours. The brisket already will melt in your mouth. I call it sushi of the prairie.
Super savory, a little like tangy and slightly sweet, but not that sweet. I like the savoriness of this, and the meat is so tender.
That's why I call it sushi of the prairie, because it's just melts in your mouth.
I will take that meat candy any day. And I'm gonna try your macaroni and cheese because I think I'm a bit of a connoisseur.
We have award-winning mac and cheese. We just won the Mac and Cheese Fest here in town.
Really good.
Mac and cheese, I believe, is made with 5 different cheeses.
5 cheeses, great macaroni.
5 cheeses, award-winning mac and cheese.
Cheers to this.
Yes. Right on. Good times.
With most of North Dakota's land devoted to agriculture, many of North Dakota's entrepreneurs and small business people are involved with farming. Sunflowers have sprouted up throughout the state, spurring an actual trail that travelers can chart to view stunning fields of sunflowers.
Whereas August is considered peak season for seeing blooming sunflowers, do hereby proclaim the 5th day of August to be observed by all citizens from this day forward as National Sunflower Day.
While I was there, North Dakota even had an inaugural National Sunflower Day proclaimed and celebrated. To understand more about why sunflowers are so prevalent in this northern plains state, I'm visiting the farm of Clark Coleman, past president of the National Sunflower Association. Clark, your family has been farming in this area for how many generations?
My boys will be the 5th generation. Yep.
Wow.
So
Your family is now also farming a lot of sunflowers.
yeah.
How many sunflowers are we talking about?
You know, on any given year, we have about 1,000 to 1,500 acres a year.
Why are sunflowers so widely grown here in North Dakota, and in particular in this area?
Well, you know, in different areas of the country grow different crops better, and we just grow real good sunflowers here. We have a shorter growing season. For us to do all of one crop, it just sometimes doesn't work. So if we can rotate sunflowers in with malting barley and spring wheat and maybe some corn or some peas or soybeans, it's a crop rotation tool for us to use on our farm to help with weeds and insects. And it's a very drought-tolerant crop, but probably more than anything, it's just so beneficial for our crop. It has a deep tapped root that can go down and get fertilizer that might have been lost by other commodities.
So it makes it a bit more sustainable, and then it helps with the soil and lots of different benefits.
Yeah. I think sunflowers basically started out as more of a snack food, like the confections where you go to a baseball game or something like that. But then people realized the health benefits, and so now you see them on salads and you see them on the grocery store, sunflower oil. It's become very popular.
So much more to sunflowers than I thought, and I do love sunflowers. Let's go see some sunflowers.
Awesome, let's go.
Out amid the sunflowers, it's not just beautiful.
We are lost in the sunflowers for sure.
I'll break this one in half so you can see what it's doing here.
Ooh, oh my goodness.
And they're actually quite edible.
Oh, we can eat this.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the actual...
That's going to be the actual sunflower seed right there.
That's going to be the sunflower seed. This little white thing will turn into a sunflower seed.
Yep, that'll be a black sunflower seed.
Huh. Slightly sweet. Well, it's neat to see more of the intricacies of the sunflower. I see the sunflower in its full form, and then you start to take it apart, and
look at the size of this leaf.
Wow, these leaves are huge. Yeah,
that's crazy, huh?
It is. This makes me think that nature is so amazing, because look at what we have, this beautiful, beautiful flower, and that there's so many purposes to this flower. It's not just beautiful. We can eat the sunflower seeds. We can use the oil.
And something I haven't also mentioned, that when the bee producers find out that we have sunflowers here, there's beehives all around here. They like to put them right here because that makes honey. So this is a huge honey maker too.
From the fields to the factories, sunflowers aren't just decorative, but harvested for their seeds, which go onto supermarket shelves in many forms. If you're a fan of baseball, you may have noticed that chewing sunflower seeds is a popular pastime for players. At North Dakota-based Giants Snacks, I toured their factory to see how seeds get processed, and head into the boardroom at this over 20-year-old family-owned company to get a lesson in how to properly eat sunflower seeds with Robert Schuler. I'm so glad that you've enlisted me to be your official taste tester for summer 2023. It's a little bit of work to get these out.
Well, there's two methods. The one, throw a handful in, crack it with your back teeth, separate the seed and the nut, spit out the shell, eat the nut. The other way is chipmunk method, which I call it, because between your two front teeth, one at a time. That's the other common way.
Okay. Yay. Yum, yum, yum.
My dad and his father before him sold raw product to people that used to roast sunflower seeds. They'd always take the biggest and the best sunflower seeds and they'd sell them to Europe. And we always thought it was strange, like, why don't they sell giant sunflower seeds here? We convinced him to give it a shot, and why don't we make them here in North Dakota? Kind of the rest is history. Put them in a bag and call them giants, and here we are today.
Labor-intensive and tasty. Another North Dakota business cracking seeds to make into sunflower seed butter, similar to peanut butter, but made with sunflower seeds, is Sunbutter, which I learned has gained popularity in recent years as a substitute for peanut butter for those who contend with peanut allergies. Tara Jensen shares how sunflowers get processed to make Sunbutter.
In this production facility, we bring in the seeds, we contract with our grower network, and they go through custom cleaning process.
How are you getting the seeds out of the shell?
It's really its gravity and its cleaning, its velocity.
If I can visualize it, you're basically propelling sunflower seeds onto a hard surface, shattering them.
Yep.
It's separating out the shell, the broken shell, from the actual sunflower seed.
You're absolutely right.
I want to stand at the edge of that machine and get those seeds.
Yeah, we take anything that's not suitable for the Sunbutter production, and we have other outlets for those. It could be roasting and shell seeds, and it could be bird food products.
So basically, you're
making this sustainable and you're trying to use every aspect of the sunflower seed.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But what does it taste like? I try my first sunflower butter and find it's good.
Really creamy. Does remind me in the consistency of peanut butter, but it tastes like a sunflower seed.
Next, I'm heading out on the water in the Missouri River with Dakota Goodhouse, a Great Plains historian, on a Lewis and Clark riverboat tour.
Dakota, you grew up here along this river.
I did. Mini shoshe makoche ki dumpi. Like I was born along this stream, the Missouri River.
What does this river mean culturally?
On the west bank here, we have Lakota spoken. And on the east bank then is Dakota. So it's a definitive marker in the geography of the Great Plains. I am Lakota on my mother's side and Yanktonai Dakota on my father's side. So I'm from people who are on both sides of the river.
You're straddling the river.
Yeah, yeah.
Back during the time when Lewis and Clark would have been exploring this area, what would they have seen?
So we're on a stretch of the Missouri River where Lewis and Clark came out at the culmination of a decades-long conflict, intertribal conflict for control of beaver and otter pelts for trade with the English and French, who still had a heavy presence on the Missouri River. They came out and they visited the Dakota, Lakota people in South Dakota, with both positive and negative outcomes. On my mother's side, the Hunkpapka Lakota people, we had our own history with the Core Discovery. We borrowed their horses in February 1805. The High Dog Winter Count calls it the year we took iron-shod horses. And Lewis and Clark were the only ones out here with the iron-shod horses. But for Lakota people, the cultural significance of this is that this Missouri River, the Mini Shoshe, and where it concludes, the Mini Tranca, the Gulf of Mexico, for Lakota people. This river is also a metaphor for birth, life, and death. So the river begins its great journey at the Great Water, and its life is the Mini Shoshe, and when it reaches its end, it's the Great Water once more. And it's reflected in the heavens. When you see the sun go down, the Missouri River is reflected in the Milky Way.
During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, North Dakota saw an influx of immigrants from Germany and Scandinavia who settled in more rural parts of the Midwest, including the Dakotas. Their influence can be seen in a variety of ways and in a variety of places, including place names in North Dakota. The city of Bismarck is named after Germany's famous chancellor, Otto von Bismarck. This heritage is also present in the food. Right alongside the Missouri River, I head into the Huckleberry House, a Nordic-inspired restaurant for a sweet treat with Dante Long.
Dante, tell me about this cake.
So that is the lefse cake. It's a traditional dessert for Norwegians in the area. When they traditionally serve it at home, it's covered in butter and then sugar. So what we do instead is we make a layered lefse cake where we have lefse, white chocolate, lefse, sunflower butter, mixed berries, sunflower seeds, and then butterscotch drizzle on top.
Wow.
Lefse is a traditional Norwegian flatbread, which looks similar to a tortilla and is popular on holiday tables in Norway and for many Midwestern families with Norwegian roots. At the Huckleberry House, they put a special North Dakota spin on it by creating this cake, accented with sunflower seeds and sunflower butter.
It's really good.
Thank you.
It's creamy. The butterscotch is sweet. And the layers of the lefse comes together. It's so light and airy, but also really rich. It's really good.
Thank you.
There's sunflower sprinkled on top. Well, cheers to this, Dante.
Cheers.
Another restaurant in Bismarck with a focus on Midwest food is Butterhorn, where Stephanie Miller, a former Top Chef contestant, uses local ingredients to make Midwestern dishes that also give a nod to her Norwegian-German heritage.
I'm just gonna mix this. I am making ricotta capitelli today. It's one of our most popular pastas that we make at Butterhorn. The dough is actually made with cheese, with ricotta, and then we toss it kind of with our house-made fennel sausage, some homemade chicken stock, and a little bit of paprika to give it some flavor and some color, and people love it. Yeah, it's one of our best sellers.
Homemade pasta.
Yes.
With some local ingredients.
Yeah, we use flour that's grown and milled right here in North Dakota, and we think that that's super important because we're a wheat, durum, barley state, and we want to represent and support that as best we can. We try and keep it simple and fresh and seasonal. Yeah. Just a couple quick turns to coat the rest of the pasta, and this is when we plate.
It already smells good, so. The rolls, like bread's one of my favorite things.
Me too.
And this is the restaurant's namesake.
Yes, it is. So these are Butterhorns. Basically, both my grandmas made these when I was growing up. It was my first cooking memory, so they're really important to me. They're basically like a quick yeast bread roll. Usually, or traditionally, they're served with like a vanilla icing on top. But you don't really want to eat vanilla icing before your dinner. So now it's just flaky salt and whipped butter, and people love them. We make them fresh every day.
Buttery, salty goodness.
I know, you can't go wrong. Very quintessential Midwest, German, Norwegian roll. Thank you.
I like how your sausage has like a hint of pepper or something.
Yeah, a little bit of spice too, a little bit of heat, but we don't want to take away from like the really good flavor of the handmade pasta.
I think you can taste such a difference when things are homemade. You can show them your own personal melting pot. You're bringing that heritage alive, and that's pretty cool.
Thank you, I appreciate that a lot.
North Dakota's farming and agricultural heritage can be traced back to many of the early farmers who immigrated from Norway and other Scandinavian countries, and were also of German, English, and Celtic descent. In 1974, to further celebrate the state's strong farming, and in particular dairy farming legacy, a local Lions Club created what is now a popular roadside attraction to celebrate their roots.
I have indeed driven 40 minutes outside of my way to see the world's largest Holstein cow. And her name is Sue, 38 feet tall, 50 feet long, 12,000 pounds. As a dairy and ice cream lover, I can tell you that Salem Sue is utterly fantastic.
In the town of New Salem, just down the road from Salem Sue, I'm shopping local at Utterly Caffeinated, where entrepreneur Melinda Ellingson has created a quirky and fun cow-themed coffee shop that pays further homage to dairy.
Having just seen Salem Sue, you know, I was like hankering for some milk products. So, and here you are.
We can fix that for you. So I definitely recommend that you do the Holstein latte. That one's caramel and brown sugar cinnamon. And if you love caramel, you'll love that.
How did you decide to open this bakery and coffee shop?
Well, ever since I was little, I've always been raised in a family that cooks and bakes. And that's one thing that has always brought us together.
I know starting a business is hard, but when you have all these baked goods to enjoy, there's a lot of love here.
There is a lot of love and a lot of butter. And then my mom worked in a bakery. And so I took kind of my first steps in a bakery. Runs in the family, I guess. Both my grandmas cooked, and I went to culinary school, and I absolutely loved it. Here's that Holstein latte for you to try.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, cinnamon's really good for you too.
It is really good for you. I mean, that's what I tell myself when I drink like 3 a day.
And with that, I'm sipping my Holstein latte with North Dakota on my mind. I started out seeking sunflowers along a trail of farms and beauty that ended up combining art, beer, food, history, and culture to get a more true sense of North Dakota's history and modern charms.
Thanks so much for joining me here in North Dakota. We've really met some awesome locals on this journey, and we can't wait to come back again for more.
Because when you travel with the locals, you sometimes may veer off the beaten path, but you will most certainly gain a sense of place through the people who call it home.
Cheers.
Thanks, North Dakota.
Nothing like booze in the middle of the day.
That's the way we roll in Travel New Day. If only Salem Sue could enjoy this with me. She's here with me in spirit. Actually, she could probably see me from where she is on top of that hill because that cow is so large.
Like the interesting note taker. I like really put a lot of whiskey and stuff on these notes. My kind of note taker.